You start out with this piece of clay that's just a blob, it's nothing, and you make it into something, and that's kind of who I am. I feel like I have a purpose now. Like that bowl I was throwing, that has a purpose. I have a purpose. I was in the foster care system because I was born to a developmentally disabled mother and an absentee father who neither could take care of me, so I lived with my grandmother the first 12 years of my life. The state got involved and we went into foster care at age 12 and a half and was bounced around through many different foster homes.
We've never had a stable home. I've never been to like one school for like the whole school year. And I feel like, okay, am I meant to just be living on the corner on the street or something? Because everywhere I lay my head, I end up being told you can't lay your head here anymore. Plain and simple, my stepfather gave my mother an ultimatum. And it was either she goes or I go. My mom told me to leave. I was in Washington, D.C. being heard. My time in foster care is gone and past. I'm 25, but still to give my story and, to be an advocate for those who are still facing it today, it meant a lot to me. And to actually speak to someone who has the power to make a change and for that person to just give me her time, open up to me, Congresswoman Janice Hahn, it just felt like, wow, someone actually does care. You can be doing so many other things right now, seeing her, in all her other meetings, phone calls, it's like, but you're taking this day out to actually hear what I have to say about foster care.
That's exactly why we have Shadow Day, so that the young people can interact with members of Congress, voice their concerns, and really have an influential impact in the policy discussion. I actually believe that the child welfare system in the United States needs to be transformed. I mean, there's been a tremendous progress over the years, but there needs to be some fundamental changes. And I also happen to believe that the best experts that you can get to help initiate and influence policy are those people that are directly involved.
But yeah, so this is her office.
So many Congress people were just so unaware of, what foster children are going through. And not even just foster children, but what those who have emancipated out the system are going through. So many, I'm kind of still homeless, struggling, and just mouths dropped,
It's not every day they get to be around foster kids. I mean, everyone thinks that we're such bad people. We are not bad people. We just had terrible circumstances in which we were brought up. It doesn't necessarily mean we're bad. I mean, I'm a 3.9 student. I mean, loving family. Does it look like I was in foster care? No, you can't tell on the outside. When I was 16, I ended up being diagnosed with many different mental illnesses, and I ended up in treatment that's where I actually aged out. Foster care was from a treatment facility. There's so much more to a child than just their behaviors. I mean, I felt like my life was on hold and I didn't learn a lot of skills I needed to for when I turned 18. Going through these circumstances I went through, going through foster care, it has honestly made me a more compassionate person. I've noticed I'm not as quick to judge, and that's going to be very valuable because I want to be a nurse. It's one of the things I'm working on.
You have great things to look forward to from your nursing start to, wherever that takes you. Donna had to not only work through not being loved and cared for by a family, but then also being over-medicated, which dulled her senses. And fortunately, she had the strength to fight through that. With the help of her father, they were able to clear her mind. And boy, she is one bright, smart, intelligent, energetic young lady, isn't she?
I am definitely one who stands for elimination of discrimination against individuals with disabilities, especially those. Things were happening to my body, getting deja vu all the time, and my mother just would ignore it when I would try to tell her, or she would think that I was just coming up with this stuff for her attention. And luckily, just 2014, finally a doctor actually took the time, sit down with me and diagnosed me correctly and was like, you have epilepsy. Being in the system, I was becoming somebody I wasn't. People seen me as, oh, okay, she's a bad girl. Oh yeah, she's in foster care. She must have did something wrong, you know, and it hurt me so bad, like I'm actually the innocent one, you know? And it actually got to a point where there was no longer any placements able to be found, so I ended up sleeping on buses and trains. Still a ward of the court.
Trayvon is incredibly resilient. It's like, here's an application, fill this out. Okay, here's, you know, a job, go and talk to them. Here's an opportunity. Trayvon will absolutely always say yes. And, you know, I don't worry about Trayvon. I know that there are struggles and that there will continue to be struggles, but she will always say yes and she will keep going.
It felt more like I'm in a house where there are people who are willing to hear our voices.
I just feel honored that I had the opportunity out of all the foster youth in the United States that I'm one of those people who got to be here. I am a vivacious 22-year-old who absolutely loves life and is open to new opportunities and experiences, and I just love learning.
10 years time, I would really like to be married, 2 or 3 children of my own, as a child life specialist, with just a supportive husband, a committed family where there's just unconditional love.